Good morning,
Good
fellow Toastmasters.
morning.
Rather than address you as fearless speakers, this morning I'm going to address you as a few less speakers. Ha 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 ha. There's just JD, Elise, and myself this morning, so if you're out there watching, that's why there's not going to be very much applause. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's read our mission statement. Fear has no power over me. I am a fearless speaker. We help each member become the best versions of themselves by creating a supportive and positive learning experience to nurture greater communication and leadership skills, resulting in self-confidence and personal growth. All right. Our message for the day: life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react. Charles Swindoll. Well, I would introduce our guests, but we have none this morning. So let me go ahead and introduce our Toastmaster this morning. That would be me. Woo! Good morning, Don. How are you doing today? Well, I'm feeling pretty good, thank you. Because of the lack of members today, we're going to go ahead and skip our grammarian and awe counter and just go with timer and our roles. So we'll have Toastmaster, I'll be the general evaluator, table topics master, JD, if you give a speech. Elise will be evaluating and figure out the timing roll. Do we have somebody's time from the beginning?
What'd you say?
Don't.
Somebody to time. I guess I'll do the timing.
I can do timing.
Well, you're going to be evaluating when
Yeah,
it
I know.
comes to that.
It's
So
hard.
I'll go ahead and do the timing.
Okay.
All right.
Did James contact you, by the way? Is
He
he
did
okay?
not.
Hope he's okay.
I hope
James,
he's
I
okay
hope you're okay.
as well. All right. And let's see. I have some information here. Is this for me, JD, or is this?
No, that's just for my speech.
Oh, okay. And we have an introduction. We do. Let's see if I can read it. All right. This morning we have one speaker. That speaker is Mr. JD Austin. JD's been with the company, Maricopa County Community Colleges, for 16 years, and with his own company, Twin Geckos, 15? Is that correct? Excellent. Been a Toastmaster for 14 years. He's excited to have a week off next week. And this morning, JD's going to be doing a speech from the Pathways Level 3 Innovative Planning, and his objective this morning with his speech is to present a proposal. What he's asked us to watch out for is coherence. It is an 8 to 10 minute speech. Title of JD's speech: Let's do this. Let's do this, JD Austin. Woohoo!
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and guests that haven't come today. Today I'm going to present a proposal, but before I begin, let me set a baseline. This week I've been reading a new book. It's entitled Smart Cuts: How Hackers, Innovators, and Icons Accelerate Success. And one of the ideas that they have in this book is that failure doesn't lead to success, but other people's failure does. And that failure leads to success for individuals when they get legitimate feedback and they act upon it. Here at Toastmasters, we do that as part of the program. And today I'm going to be talking about the status of our club and where we should be going at the start of the year when we come back. First, the bad news. Our club is in trouble. Right now we have 9 active members. Of those 9 active members, one person is an inactive member who will not come to the meeting, but they keep paying their dues. Thanks, Dave. We have 2 people who are not active members. We have one guy who renewed his dues in October, but we haven't seen him since, which it's very likely that he's not going to renew. And Susie just left this last week to take a new job, which means we really have 6 active members. If you look at this handout that I handed out, you can see that our base was 17. We need 20 people, and they should have us as 9 active members on this chart. So even though this says 9, we really only have 6 people. that are active, and that isn't a healthy club. We currently have 5 goals met, so if we had, at this point, 20 or more members, and we still have them at dues renewal in October, we would be a distinguished club right now. But we're not, because we need a minimum of 20 members. So if we can get our club to 20 or more members, we will be distinguished or better in June. Let's talk about the achievements we've achieved this year. So far, no one has achieved any competent communicators, and I'm not even working on those anymore because it's the old program. I have a level 1 that I can submit, and I have a level 2 and 2 level 3s that I can submit. But I can only submit one of those. I can submit a level 2 and a level 3. And so far, all of the awards achieved to records are from Dawn. So thank you, Dawn. Let's give Dawn a round of applause. That isn't healthy. That's one guy achieving awards. And currently we have a lot of awards that we need to achieve that we haven't. We need a minimum of 4 to achieve level 1. That's Pathways level 1. It's really not that hard. You do about 4 speeches and you're done. We've had people give way more speeches than that, but they haven't achieved that award, I believe, because they're not actually working the Pathways program. They're just redoing projects. That's my assumption. So even with my awards, it won't help us, unless someone else achieves a level 2 and a level 3, it won't help us on our club goals. And we need a minimum, according to this, of 7 members to achieve members' skills. So we already have 5. If we achieve another 7 members, we will have 7. That will make us select distinguish if we had 20 members, which 7 members won't be enough. So we need more than 7 members. But if we can achieve this goal and get to 20 members by June 30th, then we will be a select distinguished club at least. If we can get our club members to work the program during that time, I believe that we can be, and we will be, a President's Distinguished Club. We have achieved the on-time dues renewal and officer submission for this last year, and I'm going to submit the officers for the coming year coming up, so that will achieve the first one of these, since on-time officer list is part of goal number 10. So how did we get here? Why are we in such a rough shape right now? For starters, we had people who joined during the last 6 months, before June, who were paper members. They showed up, they joined, and they never came back. So we have to address that. Why didn't they come back? What could we have done to get them to come back? That's part of what we as a club need to work on and systemize. That's really what I'm going to be proposing coming up. We had too many inactive members. Not enough people were coming and being active members in the meetings. So that meant a few people were showing up, doing too many things, and club momentum was, instead of growing, it was dying. Not enough people were working the educational program. We've had lots of people give speeches over the last 6 months. Don achieved his DTM. So Don was working the old program, but other folks, including myself, could have been working the new program a little bit better. And as people left who had officer roles, we left them vacant, and as a result, especially because of the public relations role, we lost momentum. We weren't promoting, and as people left, we weren't bringing in new people. Now, for the proposal, the good news. We have 6 months to change the trajectory of our club. We can turn this around. We can do this. We can make this club healthy again if, and only if, we all work together. Let me bring up a caveat here. In 2017, this club almost died. At that time, I went out because my wife and I had to go to the hospital. While I was gone, the club dropped to 2 people. It's Don and myself, actually 3 people, and then one of them left later. I'm afraid that's going to happen again because My wife is pregnant again. She's due in April. April dues renewal is coming up. So I might be out in April. I can remotely submit dues to Toastmasters International and do some things, but I'm worried that the club is going to die if something happens and I can't be here to keep pushing. So that, I hope that other people in the club can help step in and help push the club forward. And really, that's what we need. We need everyone pushing forward. My proposal is that we need a plan of action for next year. We need to hit the ball running when we come back. I could make some suggestions right now, but I want this to be a group effort. Obviously, I would suggest a speech craft or some other promotional activity. But beyond that, we need, as a club, to really start all pulling, pushing in the same direction. We need input from everyone, ideas from everyone, energy from everyone. All of us that are in the club right now, we're either starting businesses, already have businesses, or are thinking about starting a business. All of us can benefit from this action. We need members to be more aggressive doing their pathways. We need people to go to their training. There's a handout here that I will send out to the people that aren't here today. In January, there's 2 in January, 1 in February. I recommend we all get it done in January. That way we know it's done. There's only 5 club officers. I will go to the very first one just to get it done. I'm pretty sure Don and Lisa will go, but we need to make sure that other club officers are going to go too. Earlier in my speech, I alluded to a book that I'm reading right now called Smart Cuts, and a point that he made about failure. In the context of the book, it was about doctors who learned a new surgery, about heart surgery where people were alive, and they researched into the failure rate, and they discovered that doctors did not learn from their failures. The reason they didn't learn from their failures is because they found some way to make an excuse about it. The people that did learn were the other doctors, people who didn't make the mistake. They learned from other people's mistakes. I'm proposing that we learn from the mistakes of our past and we systemize things, make things automatic, make it the default action for the club. I personally am going to build some tool to allow us to track and graph the state of our club every 2 weeks. And I'm going to make it easy for myself and future VPs to be able to send out that status. Basically, they're going to put in some statistics, and it's going to generate some graphs, and they'll be able to send that out as a document to the whole club, so that we can, as a club, know whether the momentum is growing, or whether it's falling, or whether it's staying the same. And everyone here in business knows that if you're not growing in business, you're dying in business. And right now, my business is a flat line, and it's way harder to start momentum again than it is to keep it going. That's what I want to propose. Let's get this momentum going, and let's keep it going. Let's do this. Who's with me?
All right.
Yeah.
All 2 of us.
All right.
All 2 of us.
Oh, thank you.
JD. All right. Had a thought, because there are so many people who are not here and so few of us who are, and I think we've got pretty much our core here going on. My thought and suggestion is, after the evaluation, do we want to have a moment to just talk about some of our strategies moving forward?
I was thinking the same thing. Let's just brainstorm.
Okay.
We don't need a table topic.
Okay. All right.
I like that.
Excellent job, JD. It is now time to go ahead and bring up our evaluator. Our evaluator this morning for JD's speech is Ms. Elise Rathke. Come on up, Elise.
Okay.
You're a Toastmaster.
I am a PLD woman.
Yes, you are.
I can do this.
first of all, I always love listening to you talk, speak. You are eloquent, you're funny, you're enthusiastic, you always have a great message and or a great story. Personally, I needed to hear this today. Just the other day I was saying to Dawn, I have just been coming to Toastmasters for the social of it. I have not figured out exactly how to do pathways. It's confusing to me, and I'm letting, and have been letting that be my stumbling block. So I needed to hear this today. And when we brainstorm, I can share more of my thoughts just personally and goals for myself. As far as your speech goes, I love that you did this, and again, I think the timing was perfect. Honestly, I would like to see you do it again, only because if we have more of our people here, I think everybody needs to hear this. I needed to hear this. I'm sure James would enjoy it, and you know, our new people. I think it would be really great for our new people, because what it taught me was I didn't know some of this stuff. I didn't know how strongly what we do and achieve in here impacts our status. And for me to just be showing up socially here, I have now a slightly better understanding. And after our conversation today, I'll understand more. As far as your speech goes, though, I love that this was a proposal. I love that you used this topic for a proposal, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. I think it flowed really well. I love all of the aspects. You started out by introducing what our club status was, shared with us, our club is in trouble. I love that that was our first slide. That got me like, whoa, what's happening here? And I know that our membership has been dwindling, so I assumed that's where you would go with it. But I loved that that was your first slide because it hooked me. I wanted to hear what you had to say. I love that you then went on to a positive by sharing with us Dawn's achievements. And again, that's an eye-opener that it's just been Dawn carrying this. Our club goals, you shared that, which was a great explanation for me. The whole thing flowed so well. I love that you then shared, how did we get here? Good eye-opener. And then the good news is that again, on a positive spin, you shared with us how we can rectify this and change things starting today, starting in January. This is our last meeting of the year. So again, my thoughts, I think that you had a great explanation of the current situation and what we can do. I had no idea. Great layout of the proposal. I like your idea for making a tool for tracking. I think that's a really, really great idea. I think your speech flowed really well, and I loved your enthusiasm. I know how passionate you are for Toastmasters, and I feel you every time you speak. I really felt you today. My only suggestion, if you do this again, would be to be a little more fluent, and I say this for everybody who uses a clicker. If your screen was up here, you wouldn't have to turn, you know, and click. It would make that a little more smooth. You had a piece of paper over here that made it a little more smooth. You just kind of glanced over at what you were doing. So maybe get more fluent with the clicker and not having to turn around. Otherwise, so I suggest that and doing the speech again. Why don't you do this first week of January? That would be a great opener. I need to stop talking now. Thank you so much.
All right.
That was great. That really, I needed that today.
Great job, Madam Evaluator. I think we are in consensus, are we not, that we'll go ahead and forego doing table topics and just
Yeah.
go to a brainstorming session, which we will not be doing.
Yes.
Sure.
All right.